Welcome back to True Stories Paranormal Survivor. Hope all of you had a fantastic weekend and ready for a what I'd like to call an eerie yet informative show. And I will try my best to explain to you why it is informative, but for the most part, I believe it is something that many of you are looking forward to finding out about. I have been getting this sense really all weekend, and a lot more today when I was in meditation, to the fact that there are some of you, and actually there are many of you who are listening, and I will, as I tell you this right now, I actually can get a visual and a sense of where you are. There are some folks in California who are listening to me, and you have been wondering where I get this from, how I know, how do you understand, and how do you know if you are an intuitive, and how do you even know the things that you're hearing are not all just in your head. And so I want to give you some information about that. There are some other folks that are in Texas who are somewhat wondering, how do you know? I've had some experiences. I think some of these things that she shares are some experiences that I have been experiencing, or you are having some thoughts in your mind about your intuitiveness and what it all means. And so I got to tell you, there has been some experiences that have taken place per usual, because that is what this show is all about. These true stories about my life. And I think that my experience will have some explanation as to what's going on in your life. As many of you know that have been listening to my show, I am a clairvoyant medium, and I am gifted in so many different ways. It's a multifaceted, a multi-layered type of gift. And so there's so many things that happen in my life. There's more to it than me just knowing about the future and all of that stuff. I hear voices, and many of you know I have already talked about some things that I have heard and experienced in my home. And when I was down at my mom's house on this weekend, she took me back because I was sitting in the living room and she kept saying, "Rashika, did you call me? Rashika, did you call me?" And hadn't said a word, hadn't even moved at the time. And oftentimes people that are gifted will hear certain things. And then oftentimes there is a person that is there and that is trying to get your attention. And if you're not quite certain if you are intuitive or not, and pretty much all of us are, but gifted, you are probably in fear, wondering what in the world is going on. Now, when I was at my house, my haunted location, this happened all the time to my children. They were always thinking that they heard me. They were always saying, "Mom, did you call me?" Or, and they were always thinking that, each other, they were hearing each other's voices. And at the time, that was, we didn't know, but that was an entity really just kind of messing with us, trying to get our attention, but also really messing with us, because sometimes there are entities that just want to do that. They just want to get your attention. Sometimes they just pick at you. And then there are entities that are trying to get your attention for some negative and some dark reasons. And so, that experience kind of, took me back to when I was in that home. I also had an experience recently where I was in a restaurant. And my friends, this experience is more of an awakening of how you will know the difference. Now, I was in that restaurant, and for some reason, I was pulled to that restaurant, and I couldn't figure out what it was all about. Never been to this place before, never eaten here before, and trying to find a place to go. Now, I am the type of person that I firmly believe that if, whatever location you live in, you should be experiencing the food, okay? Even if you aren't a foodie like myself, I think you should be experiencing all of the restaurants and all of the food in your local town, your city, your space, your place. I mean, how else are you going to know? Right? So I'm one of those people. I like to take a Wednesday or a particular day. If I miss Wednesday, I like to go on Fridays and just check out some places, right? But this was a place that I literally was not torn. I was pulled. There you go. I was pulled to this particular place. So I get into this place and I go to sit down, and immediately, I began to hear a voice. Now, likewise, as I said about my last podcast, I like to check and see where these voices are coming from, in the beginning. Like at the hotel, when I heard the voices, I, kind of turned around and looked at my husband and my daughter, and they were just kind of in their own thing. So obviously they didn't hear it. So when I'm in this restaurant, first thing I think right away is obviously you're there. So there are going to be people talking, correct? My friends know. Literally moments after, you will get a feeling, you will get a sense of something that is different. And you will, once you get this sense, you begin to focus. You cannot help but to focus. And this is when you are getting this information and you are connecting telepathically. So I'm sitting there and I hear this voice, and it sounds more very, very thick type of accent type of voice. And the person says the name of who they were. And I go, no, not today. We are not doing this. I am here to experience this restaurant and what's going on this menu. I want to check this out. And I don't want to be bothered, my friends. And so the waitress walks by me, and right away they get to talking. I mean, 100% going on. This is what you say. This is what I want you to say. And she leans over, and I, of course, we speak and we have, small talk, what I want and all that kind of stuff. And I am in between making the decision if I should come forward with the message and start to ask about who's talking. And as clairvoyance mediums, if you're listening to this, you get it. You have to pick your moments. And then sometimes the voices are so demanding that if you don't go right ahead and pick these, and get it out or say it, it's going to happen. And, it's going to get all in your business. And what you thought was going to be one comfortable experience quickly turns into they're running the show. So every single time that, she walked near the table, or if she walked past the table or came back to the table, he began to share more things. So my friends, now I am like, I'm going to go ahead and check on this. And I began to ask her some questions, and she verified what I was saying. Yes. And I know this person, and but this person is, not here with us anymore. And I go on to explain why I'm asking her these questions. And what was quite interesting is after we got done with the conversation, and I had given her what he was saying to tell her, I I thought it was really interesting, but in a very beautiful type of way, that she says, what's so amazing that you're telling me these things is that when he was alive, he did not believe in the other side. And that was something that always bothered her or kind of stayed on her mind, because she was always wondering how he was dealing on the other side. Was he okay? Because on this side, every time she talked to him about this sort of thing, it was something he didn't believe in. It was something he wasn't comfortable with. Not in a bad way, but it was something that he just didn't believe in. And we as clairvoyants and mediums were particularly messengers, and so it's really not my job to convince people that what I'm saying is true. The job is just to give the message. And so it was quite interesting and very beautiful that the way that he wanted to show that he now believes in the other side and is comfortable with the other side is that he stepped forward and he shared some details that only the two of them knew about, and that only the two of them would know about and understand, and things that they did, that it was just the two of them, and special things for the two of them. And I thought it was quite lovely because there's so many ways that our family members show themselves to us, and so many ways that they want us to know that they are okay, and also to help her understands that it is okay to be a believer in the other side, because there is one. And following that conversation, her question to me, like many of you out there who listen to me on this show, how do you know? And that's what she kept saying, she was like, oh my gosh, you're so spot on. You're saying exactly, the things about the truck and him not liking people calling him this name and that sort of thing. You're so spot on. And it's like, it has nothing to do with me. Let me just go ahead and say that. I'm basically just used as a vessel, between the spirit world and the other side. So I'm just used as a vessel. So first of all, it has nothing to do with me. I'm not magic or anything. But that was the number one question. And I've been getting a sense from some folks in California, some folks in Texas, that in some other places as well. But I kind of feel like right now you're kind of squeamish, like, oh my gosh, like, how does she know? Just almost as if she's listening. She's in my head. Kind of I am. But as I said before, when I was talking about it briefly, you will get a sense. There is a feeling that comes with it whenever you hear these voices that follow that. There's a sense that you get, and then there's a sense of calmness when it is a loved one that is coming through, or if you are a person who is intuitive and you're kind of going through the process, because a lot of people don't realize this isn't something that just happened to you overnight. Even if you are a person who's gifted, your guides don't unveil everything all at once, because you're not really prepared for all the layers of the gift. So over time, you will see more things, you will understand more things. It is okay for you to do some research about some of the things that you are hearing and seeing, and things that are unfolding in your life. I've had people to ask about numbers. You will see that. As a child, I saw numbers all the time and began to think something was going on. This chick is a little crazy. It's not what it was. I was coming into my gift. And so if you begin to think back to when you were younger, and began to think back to, I'd like to say, think back to times when you notice things happened in your life and you go, wow, I did sense that and then it happened, or I felt that and then somebody said it, or I knew that years ago, or I saw that years ago. And now it's kind of unfolding in my life. So whenever you begin to experience these things, you're going through the process, and there is no just one thing that's going to happen in your life that kind of seals the deal for you. There's going to be different things that are going to be going on to let you know that you are an intuitive or that you are gifted. And I like to tell people not to run away from it. Begin to meditate and ask some questions to yourself while you are in meditation. Some people who are further along in this, I say ask your guides. But if you are not comfortable with that, I say ask yourself some questions and take a moment to listen to see what is going on, okay? And so those of you out there who are wondering about those voices, and it's not just your imagination. I believe that the imagination can do a lot, and it can be really, really helpful. But these voices that you hear, if you are out and you are around people and you see that everybody else is talking, but you're getting other information, you're getting information telepathically. And don't let that scare you, because I gotta say this, I must say this. In a time like now, in a world that we're living in now with so many satanic and dark forces, we need more intuitives. We need more light workers to come forward and step forward. And we need you to speak up. We need you to be a little bit louder. We need you now. We literally all need to come together. We need to band together. We need to work together to spread more light. Because we are literally at this moment, at this time, I know a lot of people don't like to hear it because it sounds like bad news, but we are seriously in a dark time. And I cannot stress enough how important it is for light workers to begin to spread more light, receive more light in your meditations, be more open with people about the truth. Try not to be so fearful about looking like a wacko and a crazy person. Listen to these voices who are giving you these positive notes, and continue to share the information that is coming to you every day, whenever you can, whatever setting you can, share it in. These positive notes that you're getting are to seriously, because we need it, spread light and hope to everyone and to the world. And we'll talk more on tomorrow.